Be relentless, not reckless, because the difference defines whether you build something great or destroy yourself trying. Relentlessness is the art of never giving up, no matter how steep the path or long the journey. It is discipline in motion, consistency under pressure, and focus that cuts through the noise. Recklessness, however, is chaos disguised as courage. It's doing without thinking, jumping without a plan, and charging without vision. True warriors don't just fight. They fight smart. Being relentless means knowing your target, studying it, and moving with precision. Reckless behavior burns fast and crashes hard, but relentlessness builds slowly and rises strong. You must learn when to strike, how to adapt, and why to endure. Relentlessness is patience with fire in its heart. A relentless person prepares before they act. They learn from mistakes and build strategy with every setback. They don't just run harder, they run smarter. Being relentless means saying no to distractions and yes to the things that move you forward. You don't chase every opportunity. You hunt only what matters. Reckless people exhaust themselves on everything, but relentless people conserve energy for what counts. It's not about always moving fast. It's about always moving with purpose. There is strength in slowing down when needed and speeding up when the path is clear. When you're relentless, every step you take is measured, meaningful, and directed toward your goal. You become a machine of progress, not noise. Recklessness may look brave, but it's often driven by insecurity. Relentlessness is calm, confident, and committed. Being relentless requires emotional control. You feel the frustration, but you don't let it dictate your actions. You feel the fear, but you don't let it halt your progress. A relentless mind chooses growth over ego, while a reckless one obeys impulse. There's a fine line between courage and carelessness. Walk it wisely. Stay aggressive in your goals, but gentle in your judgment. Being relentless means showing up daily, not burning out weekly. It means pushing when it's hard, but pulling back when necessary. You're not out to prove anyone wrong. You're out to prove yourself right. That's why relentless people win. They don't waste energy reacting to everything. They respond only to what matters. They rise when others panic. They adapt when others break. That's not recklessness. That's mental mastery. Relentless people play the long game. They know quick wins don't mean lasting success. They build brick by brick, layer by layer, day by day. Reckless minds chase shortcuts, but shortcuts often lead to dead ends. If you truly want something, be willing to earn it the right way. The relentless don't need to be noticed. They need to make an impact. They aren't driven by applause, but by the mission. They're quiet when others shout, and they execute when others hesitate. Being relentless is about vision. It's seeing the peak and knowing every step it takes to get there. Reckless minds see only the moment. They live for now, but sacrifice tomorrow. Don't do that. Build something that lasts. Fight for goals worth bleeding for. Be patient, be precise, be powerful. The relentless embrace discipline as their weapon. They train their mind before they train their body. They organize their life around their vision. A relentless person doesn't ask for motivation. They create it. They're driven by commitment, not mood. But the reckless confuse intensity with effectiveness. They work hard but waste effort. They confuse movement with progress. That's why they burn out, give up, or crash into the wall they never saw coming. Being relentless is knowing when to rest, when to reflect, and when to attack. It's a full spectrum mindset, not just raw grind. Anyone can go hard for a week. The relentless go hard for years. That's why they win. They think long. They work smart. They endure more. They finish what others barely start. If you want to rise in life, don't just build speed, build strength. Don't just run, aim. Relentlessness is a mindset forged through setbacks, molded by failure, and strengthened by every challenge you face. It says, no matter what happens, I'm not done. Recklessness says, I'll try anything, whether it makes sense or not. One creates progress, the other creates chaos. You need to understand yourself, your goals, and your limits. Push the limits, but don't ignore them. A relentless mind respects the process. It doesn't skip steps. It faces discomfort, but it doesn't invite destruction. That's the balance. You don't stop. You don't quit, but you also don't destroy your future to feed your pride today. That's how winners are made, not just with force, but with wisdom. Relentlessness is powered by purpose. When you know why you're fighting, you become unstoppable. Your why becomes your compass in storms, your anchor in pressure, and your fuel in exhaustion. But recklessness is often directionless. It's running fast without knowing where you're going. It's dangerous not because of the speed, but because of the absence of reason. Being relentless is being rooted in clarity. You move with intention, speak with belief, and act with alignment. You don't let emotion override execution. You don't let failure define you. You take every loss and turn it into a lesson. And you get stronger, clearer, sharper. Every day, you shape yourself into someone worthy of the dream. Recklessness wants results without reason. Relentlessness builds results with responsibility. The people who win in life aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to stop, but they also refuse to self-sabotage. You must know when to pivot and when to push. That's the wisdom of a relentless mind. It's not always about forward. Sometimes it's about sideways, backward, or stillness, but never quitting. Reckless people can't sit still. They confuse silence for weakness. They rush because they're afraid. The relentless are patient because they're prepared. Their silence is strategy. Their timing is deadly. They wait for the perfect strike. And when they move with everything. No second guessing, no hesitation, no panic. That's the difference. Relentless minds respect time. Reckless ones waste it. Choose your approach carefully. Your future depends on it. A relentless person understands that legacy is more important than likes. They build for the long term, not for the moment. They understand that every action is a seed planted, and they only water what they want to grow. Reckless people scatter their energy everywhere and wonder why nothing blooms. You must be focused. You must be intentional. You must guard your time, your thoughts, your circle. Being relentless means saying no often. It means sacrificing popularity for power, comfort for growth, and ease for excellence. It's not glamorous. It's gritty, but it's worth it. Because while reckless people fade with time, the relentless become timeless. They don't just achieve goals, they change the game. That is the real prize of mental mastery. In the end, life will test your fire. It will throw setbacks, heartbreaks, and endless distractions in your path. If you're reckless, you'll fall for every one of them. But if you're relentless, you'll face them all and rise stronger each time. This mindset is not just about how hard you work. It's about how smart you fight. Be relentless in your goals, in your effort, in your self-belief. But be smart enough to avoid the traps of pride, haste, and noise. Master yourself first. Understand your mind. Train it to endure, to decide, to lead. Because once your mind becomes relentless, your life becomes unstoppable. You won't just chase greatness, you'll become it. Be relentless, not reckless. That's how legends are made.